6 most heartbreaking BL couple splits. In the Thai BL industry, it's not always rainbows and butterflies. More often than not, it's a series of storms and heartbreaks. In this video, we'll discuss some of the most heartbreaking on-screen BL couple splits. Before we begin, please note that some of these shows may not be available in your country due to geo restrictions. If that's the case, you might want to sign up for ExpressVPN to unlock these geo-blocked BL dramas. Use the link in the description below to get a 77% discount plus an additional 4 months free if you opt for the 2-year plan. Without further ado, let's get started. First on our list, Jimmy and Om. Honestly, this really came out of nowhere for me. We haven't even gotten the chance to see them fully lead their own BL series in Magic Lover. So hearing that Mandy work has already officially ended their pairing feels a bit shocking and, if I'm being real, a little disappointing too. What makes it even harder to process is that, according to the same announcement, both actors are also being replaced in Magic Lover, which was supposed to come out later this year. It kind of takes away that sense of anticipation I had for seeing how they would grow as a main couple. I still remember when we first saw them last year in The Next Princess supporting characters, and they honestly stood out to me right away. Their chemistry felt really natural and effortless, like nothing was being forced, and that's something I don't always feel with newer pairings. Because of that, I genuinely thought they had a strong chance of lasting longer in the BL scene, especially since they already had another project lined up together. That's why this sudden conclusion feels even more unexpected. I'm not the type to follow every single update about the actors beyond their series, so I didn't really see this coming. But apparently, some fans had already been noticing little signs earlier this year that something might be off. Looking back now, maybe those hints were leading up to this decision all along. Still, as a viewer who was looking forward to Magic Lover, it's one of those situations where you just have to accept it, even if it doesn't sit right at first. Number 2 on our list, Winnie and Saturn. I've really watched this on-screen couple grow from the very beginning of their partnership in My School President all the way to their final project together that summer. Looking back, it's kind of emotional because you can actually see how much they've evolved, not just individually as actors but also in how they work together as a pair. To be fair, I already thought they were good the first time I saw them on screen. They had that natural charm and presence that made them easy to watch. At first, I'll admit I wasn't completely invested in their chemistry. It wasn't something that instantly pulled me in compared to other pairings. But over time, something shifted, and their dynamic just started to click for me. The more projects they did, the more comfortable and genuine they felt, and eventually, I found myself really appreciating what they brought to the table as a couple. Over the past 3 years, I think they've done more than enough to prove their talent and versatility. They've shown different sides of themselves and took on roles that allowed them to grow, which is something I really respect. At the same time, I've always wondered what the Thai BL industry would look like if it didn't rely so heavily on fixed on-screen couples. It's an interesting thought, but at the end of the day, I get that decisions like these are often driven by what works best from a business standpoint. Even so, I'm still looking forward to seeing both of them in future projects. It might feel a little different not seeing them together anymore, but that doesn't take away from how much I appreciate them as individual actors. If anything, I'm curious to see how they'll shine on their own or even with new partners moving forward. Number 3 on our list, Ping and Nut. One of my personal favorites from last year has to be I'm the Most Beautiful Count. It wasn't your typical BL that heavily focuses on the romance of the leads. Instead, it leaned more into the comedy and the personality of the main character, which I honestly found really refreshing. Even though the story didn't revolve entirely around romance, Ping and Nut still had their fair share of romantic moments, and I thought those scenes added a nice balance to the overall tone. I know some viewers felt like they didn't have much chemistry, but at this point, I think that really just comes down to personal preference. Not every pairing is going to click the same way for everyone, and that's totally fine. Before that, we first saw them together in Pit Babe, which really helped boost their popularity and introduce them to a wider audience. That project kind of set the stage for them and gave them the opportunity to eventually lead their own series, which I think they definitely earned. You could see that there was potential there, even if opinions about their chemistry were mixed. That's why it felt a bit surprising when, earlier this January, Change Artist officially announced the conclusion of Ping and Nut as a working pair. It wasn't exactly something everyone saw coming, especially since they were just starting to establish themselves more. With that announcement, it's pretty safe to assume that we won't be seeing them together in the same series anytime soon, which is a bit bittersweet. Still, I'm curious to see where their individual careers will go from here and what kind of roles they'll take on next. Number 4 on our list, Benz and Garfield. Another on-screen BL pair that has officially gone their separate ways is Benz and Garfield, and honestly, that one stings a bit. A lot of people got to know them through Pit Babe, and they also appear together in This Love Doesn't Have Long Beans, which helped solidify their presence as a pair. For me, they were one of those duos that just worked. Their chemistry felt natural, their interactions were smooth, and nothing ever felt forced when they were on screen together. It was easy to get invested in their dynamic because it came across as genuine and effortless. That's why the announcement of their partnership ending hit a lot of fans pretty hard. If you look at their social media, you can really see how emotional the reactions have been, with fans expressing both sadness and support for the two actors. Many were actually expecting to see them headline a new BL series this year, especially since they seem to be gaining momentum as a pairing. There was this sense that they were just getting started, so the news felt a bit abrupt for some people. Unfortunately, it looks like those expectations won't be happening anymore, at least not in the way fans hoped. Still, even if they're no longer working together as a pair, I think there's a lot to look forward to in terms of their individual careers. It's just one of those bittersweet situations where you appreciate what they gave as a duo, while also hoping they both continue to succeed in their own paths. Number 5 on our list, Great and In. One of my personal favorites from XylonAkauMSTS has always been the pairing of Great and In. I think a big part of that comes from how strong their chemistry felt right from their first BL together. It just clicked so naturally. They had this kind of effortless compatibility on screen where their interactions didn't feel forced at all, and their overall vibe was just really easy and enjoyable to watch. It's the kind of pairing that pulls you in without you even realizing it, and I think that's why so many fans, including me, ended up getting attached to them and their characters. After their rom-com BL series One D Good Day, I honestly thought we'd be seeing a lot more from them, especially since they were paired again in the historical BL drama memoir of Ratty. That project, in my opinion, really helped solidify their partnership even more because it showed a different side of their acting and chemistry. You could tell they were becoming more comfortable with each other, and it made their performances feel even more genuine. That's why it was really heartbreaking when XylonAkauMSTS officially announced in September last year that their pairing had come to an end. As a fan, it's definitely one of those pieces of news that's hard to accept at first, especially when you've followed their journey and seen how much potential they had as a duo. But at the same time, I try to look at the bigger picture. This could also be a chance for both of them to grow individually, explore different roles, and challenge themselves in new ways. And who knows, maybe this new chapter will lead them to become even better versions of themselves as actors in the future. Number 6 on our list, Mark and Poon. This is probably one of the shortest lived on-screen BL pairings, considering they only lasted about a year. Before this, Mark already had an established partner, but due to issues that led to Poon being suspended from all projects, XylonAkauMSTS decided to move forward by pairing Mark with Poon. At the time, it felt like a fresh start for both of them, especially since they were even announced as part of the upcoming BL series A Dog and a Plane, which got fans curious about their potential. However, things quickly changed when XylonAkauMSTS announced in August of last year that their pairing had already come to an end. They were also removed from A Dog and a Plane, which made the situation feel even more abrupt since they barely had time to establish themselves. As of now, Poon is paired with Omen My Romance Scammer, and the duo has been receiving really positive feedback from fans. It just goes to show how fast things can shift in the industry, even for newly formed pairs. This news is certainly heartbreaking. Which on-screen BL couple would you miss watching in a series? Thank you for watching. That's it and see you on the next one.